was deployed. The call came in the middle of a desert night. Static wrapped around the sheriff's voice like barbed wire. "Your sister's in the emergency room. You don't want to hear what your brother-in-law did to her. The whole town is furious. I'm retiring tonight. Badge comes off. He's completely yours. Only you can deliver justice." The line went dead. No room for questions, no time for disbelief. My knuckles tightened around the satellite phone until my bones ached. I'd been deployed long enough to bury half a dozen brothers in sand and silence, but nothing had ever stripped me of breath like those words. Not enemy fire, not ambush, not the slow drip of war. Family. Betrayal carved straight through the marrow. On the transport home, I repeated one sentence in my head until it no longer felt like thought, but scripture. Don't let him live to celebrate his next birthday. The plane wheels touched asphalt. My boots followed. Each step was heavier than gravity. I'd already signed his death warrant in my mind. I just needed to make the paper trail look like truth. And truth always leaves scars. I didn't go to the hospital first. Cowards rush in, led by emotion. Soldiers observe, calculate, plan. Instead, I drove past my sister's house. The windows were dark, curtains drawn. Not grief, concealment. I could feel the residue of him there, in the stillness, like an infection that hadn't yet been burned out. Neighbors' eyes followed my car. Too many glances, too much silence. Small towns breathe rumors faster than oxygen. By the time I walked into the emergency room, the nurses looked at me as if they'd already rehearsed the script of pity. My sister lay there, motionless. Bruises like fingerprints on her throat, split lip. One wrist bandaged where bone and rage had collided. Her eyes opened, swollen, bloodshot. She didn't cry, didn't plead, didn't speak. That silence told me more than words ever could. She had hidden his violence before, shielded him from consequence, believed in excuses, apologies, promises of never again. But this time, the violence broke past the perimeter. The sheriff had seen, the town had seen. It was no longer their private hell. And the look in her eyes told me the one truth I needed. He is guilty. He is yours now. But bruises heal. Lies do not. Violence might have been his weapon, but betrayal always leaves a deeper scar. The sheriff's words replayed. You don't want to hear what he did. What he did wasn't just fists and rage. It was the other kind of betrayal. The quiet, intimate kind that rewires trust and poisons the blood. Infidelity, manipulation, a double life. That night, sitting in the sterile hum of hospital lights, I knew the bruises were only surface. The real wound ran deeper, and I was going to dig until I exposed it. I began where soldiers always begin: intelligence. Phone records, bank statements, late-night drives under headlights that never caught mine. People talk. Bartenders, neighbors, clerks who watch receipts pass across counters. And they talked to me. I kept my voice calm, cold, measured. A man back from war doesn't need to shout to command attention. Patterns emerged like footprints in fresh snow. His car parked outside a motel 2 towns over. Receipts for dinners for 2. Flowers purchased on nights my sister was left at home with excuses about overtime. But it wasn't until I found the photographs that everything solidified. Tucked in an unlocked folder on his laptop, hidden beneath fake work documents, images. Him with another woman. Smiles too polished, too familiar. Her hand on his face, his arm around her waist. Not just lust, not just escape, an entire shadow relationship. The betrayal hit colder than any bullet. I closed the laptop without shaking. Inside, I was fire. Outside, I was ice. This was no longer a matter of rage. It was a matter of precision. I ordered DNA tests, though my sister didn't know. Her youngest child, blue eyes in a family of brown. whispers that had once been dismissed as coincidence. The results came back clean, clinical, merciless. Not his child. Not my sister's husband's blood. Another man's. The lies had multiplied. Not only had he broken vows, he'd built an entire life on deception, forcing my sister to carry his shame while smiling for photographs at family gatherings. Every piece of evidence was a bullet. I loaded them, one by one, into the chamber of my patience. I never confronted him, not yet. I wanted him cornered. I wanted him silent, with nowhere to crawl. I wanted the truth to destroy him before I ever laid a hand on him. The night I walked into his house, he was sitting at the kitchen table, beer bottles sweating in his hand. His shirt unbuttoned, his face smug, with the kind of confidence men wear when they believe they've buried every secret. I placed the folder on the table. Photographs, bank receipts, DNA test results. No words, just paper. He laughed at first, a nervous cracking sound that betrayed more than words ever could. "What the hell is this supposed to be?" I didn't answer. I didn't move. I just let the silence strip him bare. One page after another he flipped through. Smile fading, hands trembling. His face collapsed inward, like the scaffolding of a condemned building giving way. When he reached the DNA test, his voice broke into fragments. This... I cut him off with a whisper colder than a gun barrel pressed to the temple. I already know. No rage, no shouting, just truth sharpened into a blade. His chest heaved, his lips trembled, desperate for an excuse, a lie, a thread to pull himself back together. But there was nothing left. The evidence stood like a jury, and I was the executioner. I leaned forward, my voice steady, measured, surgical. You think bruises break people. They don't. They fade. What doesn't fade is this. I tapped the DNA report. You built a lie so deep, even you started to believe it. He opened his mouth, but I raised a finger. Silence cut sharper than any blade. The sheriff's gone. The town knows. And soon, so will she. Every detail, every lie, every betrayal you thought you buried. There's no running from this. Not anymore. His eyes darted, walls closing in. The predator, now prey. I slid the folder closer. Read it again. Burn it into your memory. Because this is the last story anyone will ever remember you for. His face crumbled, sweat dripping, hands clutching paper as if it might dissolve into ash and absolve him. But the truth never burns away. I stood, chair scraping against tile like a blade unsheathed. Walked to the door. He shouted after me, voice cracked with desperation, guilt, rage. "What do you expect me to do? Beg? Apologize? What do you want from me?" I paused at the doorway. "I don't want anything from you. I already took it." His confusion was a wound I left open. He would stew in it, drown in it. Every shadow, every whisper in town, every time my sister's eyes refused to meet his, it would choke him. Not bullets, not blades, truth. Slow, suffocating, undeniable truth. That was the execution. I never looked back. Didn't need to. Behind me sat a man stripped of everything. His lies exposed, his mask shattered, his family gone, his reputation dismembered. Ahead of me stretched silence, cold, clean, final. My sister would heal. Scars? Yes. But scars don't lie. They tell the truth of survival. As for him, every birthday that came, every candle lit, would be a reminder that he was still alive only because I allowed it. And that mercy was its own kind of cruelty. I had already killed him in every way that mattered. By the time his next birthday arrived, there would be nothing left of him worth celebrating. I walked into the night with no pity, no regret, only clarity. Justice isn't always a bullet. Sometimes it's truth, cold, merciless, unforgettable. And I had delivered it. I didn't take his life. I took his soul and left him breathing just long enough to feel it rot.